Welcome to Getting Home Sourced with G. Your one-stop shop for all things real estate. Gianno is your go-to guy with over 25 years of experience in the game, serving up the insider scoop on buying, selling, and investing in two of the hottest markets, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Cabo, Mexico. Whether you're looking to score the perfect home, seal the deal on a sale, or dive into the world of international investments, G's got the tips, tricks, and swagger to make it happen. Remember, in Nevada, the smart choice is the right choice. And when it comes to Cabo, you better go oceanside with Cabo G. If you were looking for a quiet, tranquil show about real estate, this ain't it. Gianno has this thing called passion. Let's unleash the beast. This is Welcome to Getting Home Sourced. And now your host, Gianno.
Hey, what do you say? We got another rockin' show today here at Getting Home Sourced with G. Thank you so much, everybody around the world tuning in. And today, I'm going to be your principal/instructor. So we're going to be called Principal G today for this show, as my School of Real Estate is now in session. And this is going to be a classroom of Getting Home Sourced with G. So, of course, I want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And of course, I'd like to start out by saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to whoever you're listening around the world. Thank you so much. And of course, for my repeat offenders, you know I love you. Everybody who's a repeat offender, you are what makes this show run. You guys are exciting. You're calling up. You're asking questions. You're talking to Ms. G. You're getting the information. You're going on my website, VegasHomeSource.com. You're looking at MLS access in Cabo as well as Vegas. You're getting the questions. You're doing your homework. You are the perfect A++ students. Thank you so much for that. And for my first timers and my newbies, thank you so much for tuning in. Whoever referred you, kiss them for me, hug them for me, and tell them thank you so much for tuning in. You're going to love our shows, and hopefully you can listen to my past shows to get you inspired to keep listening moving forward. And if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, please do so. Go to VegasHomeSource.com, sign up for the newsletter, get all the goodies that I give out to everybody, because they are goodies, folks. You get the cookies and the milk, and you also get a piece of pie. So it's all right there for you. So thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody. So now, in jumping into my classroom, we're going to cover 4 classes, aka periods, right? Because we always say like period 1, period 2. So the first class period is going to be covering math, which equals financing, right? And then our second period class, we're going to be talking about science, which equals the data analysis of real estate. And then we're going to take recess. We're going to come back and do history class, which is basically the real estate market. And then we're going to wrap it up with communication. So obviously, first and foremost, again, thank you. You guys mean the world to me, and I really appreciate you tuning in, because, again, if it wasn't for you, I'm not here doing this show. And because you're tuning in, it just lets me know that there's a desire to learn about real estate in different markets around the world, and hence that's why I have this classroom edition of Getting Home Sourced with G. So as your instructor/Principal G, let's begin. So now our first class, we're covering math, aka finance. So I want to let people know that just recently, our Fed chairman that decides the interest rates here, not the mortgage rates, but the interest rates in the United States, came out and made no changes. So everything went unchanged, and that got a lot of people grumpy and upset. However, most people don't realize that really the Fed rate does not cover the mortgage rate. It is totally separate from that. And that's where a lot of people get confused. And now what Jerome Powell has mentioned, who again is the Fed chair, was that the Fed rate sets what they call an overnight rate mortgage rate, right? That's different, because mortgage rate is a long-term rate and the Fed rate is a overnight rate. So there's a difference right there that people have to really understand, because people get confused because mortgage rates obviously fluctuate up and down, right? So the Fed may influence the rates, but not directly, and that's the reason why it controls really the economy, the government, and money. And then, of course, because of that, the Fed actually influences the mortgage rates, because mortgage rates go up and down. And really, historically, when the Fed, let's say if they drop the rate, then the mortgage rate could actually go up. So people get confused, because now I see people online, and this is what you have to be careful of, folks. Let's say, again, using the U.S. for example, the U.S., let's say the Fed cuts the rate 0.25% or 0.5%. People are already running out there and saying, hey, everybody, the interest rates just dropped. Now's the time to buy, because now the mortgage rate went from 7% to 6.5%. Now's a great time to buy. No, that's not actually correct, because, like I said, in most cases, the rate is actually going to go up, and therefore people get misinformed and they get confused, and that's not a good situation. So, folks, just be heads up that when you're listening to the U.S. and you're listening to economics here, again, last week, the Fed just say we're not making changes. Now, here's the interesting thing. They're saying that, we have a housing shortage, and I'm going to cover that in the next class that we're going to be coming up with. But to let people know, you're hearing it here first, or again, if you listened before, that you need to consult with me or your mortgage lender or someone that's doing your financing for you on the math and finance of how it works. So on that note, now this class is dismissed, and we're going to move on to the second period class, which is science equaling data analysis. This is what I'm talking about before, because now Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman, basically stated that the U.S. has a housing shortage. And that's the reason why they didn't make a change. And really the problem is that we're suffering through a housing supply issue. So this is the real story, folks. This is the street talk. This is the real deal. This is why, if you heard me before in the past, I always tell it to you straight. We don't sugarcoat things. This is the way it is. So for folks that don't really know what's going on in the U.S., we do have an affordability issue here. Prices have gone up over the years, especially since COVID. And what's happened during that time frame? Well, in the last 5 years, if you bought 5 years ago, you basically doubled your money. Great investment. But a lot of people didn't buy. They couldn't buy. They had, obviously, financial issues, what have you. Everybody struggled in 21, 22. But now, because all the hedge funds came in, the corporations, the investors, the house flippers, which are people that basically buy homes, they rehab them, restore them, turn around, and they sell it for a profit. So we call them house flippers here. They drove up the market in most major cities, especially in Las Vegas, right? And so really, when you think about the rates, so let's say if you're paying, for a $500,000 home and you're at 7% interest, when you take into consideration the principal, the interest on the rate, right? Now you have taxes and insurance, what have you. You could be paying actually $300 to $500 US more a month than where we were, let's say, a few years back. And let's say the interest rate was at 5%, but the prices were actually lower. So now when you last look, as I saw doing the data survey, there's 2 million homes, folks, in California that's sitting vacant, and roughly, I'd say about 50,000 doing my last data analysis check. Now, the inventory is there. So they're saying that there's housing shortage, and no, it's not. It's affordability issue because, again, of all these things that are happening. So now what the situation becomes is that it's not just about buying, it's about now the buyer waiting for the sellers to negotiate. It's like a hostage crisis situation. You have to meet my demands as a buyer, and if you meet my demands, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, then I'll go ahead and purchase your property. But until that time frame, if they're not getting the concessions more than what the normal concessions would be, buyers are basically waiting for the market to drop or prices to drop. They think the sky's going to fall. That's not going to happen, folks. Eventually, the forecast is that the Fed chairman will drop the rates here in the USA for, again, the interest rates. We're not talking about mortgage rates. In the fall, so you're going to be looking around October, November, December. You're going to start seeing a little bit of movement. I would say between 0.25% to 0.5%, which is actually a big deal. But the thing is, even like I mentioned it before in Cabo, like between July and August, well, really July and October because we're already in August.
Get ready for school.
July and October, the summer months going into like the fall, Cabo sellers are savvy. They will sell their property. They negotiate. They make the buyer happy. Whereas over here, sellers are squeezing, and we're going to talk about that, why they are and why it becomes nickel and dime situation. So with Cabo, the cool thing is that they're savvy enough to make the buyer happy because they've already made their money and they're not dealing with financing issues like we have up here in the U.S. because Cabo is really a cash market. But because of the economic climate and the condition, this is the reason why sellers know not to be greedy and they cut the deal. So with that being the case, that's the end of our second period of class. So now we're going to take a quick recess. And when we come back, it's history. We'll see you in a little bit.
Dreaming of owning a slice of paradise? Look no further than Cabo, Mexico. With Zion and Cabo G Real Estate, you can make that dream a reality. Whether you're seeking a luxurious beachfront villa or a cozy getaway in the heart of Cabo, Zion offers personalized service to help you find the perfect property. Imagine waking up to breathtaking ocean views, enjoying world-class dining, and experiencing vibrant culture, all just steps from your door. Make your dream home in Cabo come true today with Zion's and Cabo G Real Estate. You better call Gianno, right now. Okay, that was fun. Now do I really have to go back to the classroom?
Very good. Did very well.
Hey, what do you say? What do you say? Just want to say thank you so much again, folks, for the second half of our classroom edition of Getting Home Source with G. Of course, thank you so much as I'm your instructor/principal, Principal G, or Instructor G. However you feel comfortable. The point is that it's classroom. I want to make sure that everybody's got their pen and paper. You're taking notes because really it's important. This is serious stuff that's happening because, again, it affects everybody, no matter what market that you're in, whether you're in Europe or Australia, US, Canada, Mexico, it affects everybody, right? So now getting into history. So in this class, we're focusing on the real estate market, right? So as I know, my international friends are really not happy with what's going on with the tariffs that President Trump is putting on everybody around the world. I get it, but, again, just don't think that because with President Trump putting tariffs out to everybody, that we're sitting pretty and everybody's suffering. No, folks. I mean, we're suffering here in the U.S. as well. And regardless of what you're hearing on media, you're hearing it from me first because, like I said, it's street talk, it's real talk, it's the real deal. We are all, in general, hurting, especially in the real estate market, because there are a lot of people out there. Look, I went to New York a few weeks ago, and if you didn't see my videos, well, check them out because this Times Square was empty. Most of the areas that are the happening hotspots in New York, my hometown, were quiet. I mean, it was shocking because normally during 4th of July weekend, Independence Day here in the U.S. weekend, it would be bustling with people. It's packed with tourists and everything. Not the case this year. So you could see if New York is hurting a little bit. And New York is a major international destination tourist city, and that's quiet, right? And the same thing is happening here in Vegas. So in Vegas, hotels got greedy. Let's be honest. I mean, I'm calling them out right now. You can't have a tourist or a visitor come into town, charge $26 bottled water, $10 pizza, resort fee, junk fee, this fee, hotel fee, fee, and people are upset. They're not going to come here. But folks, the reason why they did that, and I'm going to also tell you the real deal that you don't hear from a lot of people, all these hotels on the Las Vegas Strip sold out their property. They do not own the land underneath their property, especially MGM and Caesars Corporation. They sold out to Blackstone. Blackstone is their landlord. And Blackstone, which is based out of New York, and unfortunately that's where they had that incident that took place last week, right, which is very tragic. So obviously our hearts go out to all the victims in that situation. But they're the ones that bought out the Las Vegas Strip for those major corporations, and therefore the hotels have to pay rent. So by paying rent, they have to do these junky fees. it backfired. People are not supporting them. And even locals here like myself don't want to go to the Strip. They would rather go to local off-strip properties, which is Stations Casino over here, because you have Durango Station, you have Red Rock Casino, Aliante, Green Valley Ranch. They're all over the city. And those numbers went up 49%. They actually had an increase in their profit margin. So the Vegas Strip has to get it together and realize you got to get back to taking care of the consumer, right? And that's what it's all about. But they made a big mistake, and now they're trying to figure out life. And folks, it's a little bit too late. I mean, even in the case of you got to make people happy, and you got to make buyers happy. And that's why with buyers and sellers, especially in Las Vegas, who I work with, that's why, again, hospitality. It's a service. I'm at your service. And that's what real estate does, just like hospitality. And sometimes people just can't figure it out. And that's just basically what it is. So this is why I see a lot of you that go onto my website and they look at Cabo more than Vegas. And I get it. I mean, a lot of people, they get turned off. They think that Vegas is not a hot market. And it actually is, folks, because let me tell you something. With real estate right now, we have, and I just looked at the data here just a little while ago before I came on the show, we are over 12,000 homes on the market here in Las Vegas in the U.S. for sale, whereas a year ago, May 1st of 2024, we had only 2,800 homes. Now think about that. 2,800 homes, May 1st, 2024. Now we're in August, and now we have over 12,000. Well, folks, what do you think is happening here with all these properties going on sale? And in general, across the country in the U.S., all these markets are having listings getting on the market is because, unfortunately, people living beyond their means, they're maxing out their credit cards. Now they have credit card debt. So where are you going to get the equity from? You have to sell your home to pay off your debt. This is what's taking place right now. And unfortunately, this is a bad case because, folks, I get a distress list every month. And I can tell you right now, I went from getting 50 people or 50 properties of people that own property here in Las Vegas that have some type of credit default or financial default. And now that number just went to 100 in 2 months. So, I mean, this is like, if it's happening in my city, where do you think it's happening elsewhere? And again, for my international friends, it's a different animal over there. I get it where you are, but still, I mean, just in general, where you have a lot of opportunity here, you don't see a lot of debt. Again, in Cabo, there's not a lot of debt because it's cash buyers, right? But when you have financing and when there's mortgages involved, this is what happens. It's bad, 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 folks. And I'm telling you right now, for my international friends in the U.S., for a lot of local people, this is an opportunity for you to jump into Vegas. Give Vegas a little love. I mean, go on the MLS, touch the button a little bit. It's getting a little, debris on there. It's getting a lot of cobwebs. It's not getting loved. Show it some love. Press the buttons for me. At least let me know you love Vegas in some capacity because I live here. So obviously I can tell you about that, right? So, but in a serious note, this is just what's happening across the country. So just, pay attention to that. So on that note, we cover our third period, and history class is now dismissed. And now we're going to go into our final period, which is communications, right? So communication, what does that really covers? Well, this class is really about being informed. That's the communication. No matter where you live, it could be U.S., it could be Mexico, it could be Europe, it could be Australia, Middle East, India, South Asia, wherever you're going to be at, folks. It's all about people just wanting to sell to get the end result. And I get that, right? Because that's where everybody's pushing for their own agenda. All I'm saying to you is that there's money to be made in real estate if you want to invest in real estate. And you can invest in any foreign country because that's what a lot of people are doing. That's why I get a lot of you that go on. Well. You're looking at Cabo. You're asking the right questions. You're asking and doing the research. You're looking at properties and you're calling me up and you're ready to play ball and get a deal because you see the value of what's going on down there, right? So the key here is I just want everybody, again, part of communication is being straightforward. And I just want all of you to just be on the lookout about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and who are you actually listening to. Because it's always important to get the facts and always ask questions and interview people, because you have to feel comfortable in who you're working with. And that's why you have to do your due diligence. It's like buying a house. You have a due diligence period. It's the same thing. In order for you to succeed, that's why I love when you guys go on to my website. It's there for you. I give you the tools to succeed for all your real estate endeavors. Everything is there. It's not about me trying to sell you. It's about me giving you the facts. I want to be able, look, at the end of the day, folks, I want to be able to earn your trust. That's the first and foremost thing out of anything. That's why you're listening to the show, because all of you that have been listening over the last few months or year, I've always given the facts, and you've been loyal to me, and therefore I'm loyal to you, right? So it's about trust, right? The second thing is friendships. We're friends. We're talking. I might not see you physically just yet. Of course, some of you I will, because we've been talking, and you're going to be buying from me soon, and I really appreciate that, because that's the end result. Because I'm earning your trust, we develop a friendship, and then thirdly, I want to work with you. And it's not working with you, it's working for you. We're a team. We want to make your dreams a reality. So that's what it's all about. So if you've been hearing the show for a while, I just want to say thank you for your support. And really just to say that if it's not about my students or pupils in this particular, metaphor, the class doesn't exist. And that's why I enjoy bringing this to you, because this is what it's all about. And so on that note, Instructor G, Principal G is saying, class dismissed. I want you to enjoy. Just listen to what I'm saying. Hopefully this helps you out. Any questions, please feel free to call me. You have my toll-free number, 888-528-2810. And for domestically, just put the 702 in. You can reach me anytime. You contact me. You have my virtual assistant, Miss G. She can answer any questions that I may not be able to get to you. If you're trying to call me anytime, that's what it's all about. So between me and my virtual assistant, Miss G, we got you covered. So keep doing what you're doing. Ask the right questions. Get your information. Go on my website. Go on the MLS. Look at properties, especially Cabo, because I know a lot of you love Cabo. I love Cabo. And that's why I love giving you the MLS information. But I also want you to love Vegas too. Don't look down on Vegas, because that's a sleeper, folks. I'm telling you. I'm not just saying that because I live here. I'm saying that because when you have 12,000 homes on the market, it is a buyer's market in addition to getting concessions. So that's how I'm going to leave it on that. So again, love you all. Thank you all. Appreciate you. And stay tuned for next week, because we have a special show next week. Not going to give any information out, just to say it's a special show. Stay tuned and you'll see why. Thank you. Love you all. God bless. Talk soon.
Michael, get up and get ready for school. No, I don't want to go, no. Please, mama, don't make me go.
You have just listened to Getting Home Sourced with your radio host, Gianno Buonaguro. This podcast is a registered trademark and may not be reproduced without the express written consent of VegasHomeSource.com. For additional information about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, call or text Gianno toll-free at 888-528-2810 or visit his website at VegasHomeSource.com. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.